Today, we are thrilled to welcome Bill the Lawman Umansky to the show. With over 30 years of experience, Bill is a seasoned attorney known for his dedication to offering second chances to clients who have been injured or charged with a crime. Inspired by his own challenging upbringing, Bill turned his experiences of powerlessness into a powerful drive to help others, becoming a passionate advocate for justice. Beyond his legal practice, Bill is a recognized speaker, author, and community leader who truly lives by his motto, "Everyone deserves a second chance." Stay tuned to hear Bill's inspiring story. Hey, lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the miss in biz.
Let's get biz done. Today, we are honored to have with us special guest, none other than the lawman himself, Bill Umansky. Welcome to Miss Biz.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on, actually.
You're one of the few men that make the cut to come on Miss Biz. So tell us about yourself and your business.
Well, I painted my nails so that I actually would come on. I have like Eye of the Tiger on my nails now, so I can show those to you after. But I was trying to do everything I could to come on an all-female podcast, so I really appreciate it. But you want to know about my business, is that it?
Yeah, please.
So like you, I've been practicing law just maybe a little bit longer for about 30 years and started as a state attorney. I was also worked for a senator, did some politics stuff, became a prosecutor, division chief, found that wasn't my real calling, so came over to Orlando because my wife dragged me over here. Actually, I'll just be honest, and she'll probably kill me for this, but it was either come to Orlando and or lose her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's how it went. But right after that, we got married. And we got married before we left, too. So then I started working for at personal injury firms and decided that I was not really a good fit for most people. I worked for the first female double board certified lawyer named Elizabeth Fiella in Luna Park. She was an amazing lawyer, and we butted heads, probably because of me, and also because she was a board certified trial lawyer. Do you know those people?
Not really.
No. Yeah. So I decided to open my own firm. I opened it with a partner of mine back in 1990, 99. And then I've been on my own probably for the last 24 years. So.
Wow. So 24 years you have built your own law firm.
Yep, and it's personal injury and criminal defense. So I started off doing what I needed to do, and then ultimately, basically, I learned about business the hard way because I had grown so much when I was a criminal lawyer, started my practice, and I was just psycho. So ultimately, at the end of the day, am I supposed to be looking right there? Because I have a podcast. I'm trying to think. I want to look at you guys and have a conversation because I am with women, and I like to pay attention. But
Any way you want to look.
Okay.
We kind
That's
of
perfect.
look towards the screen, then we look at each other. It's kind of mix it up.
Yeah, I need to learn that for my own podcast. I just do whatever I want. But anyway, so I started my practice, did really, really well. I had a lot of great results. Thought I was really good in business, but I wasn't. And then I hired my wife, was the first attorney that I hired, and that's when I really started learning about business, and not from her, But, I think Brooke, in business you delegate things, and you certainly can't comment to your wife on how she practices law or how she handles clients or how she does anything else. And that's how I learned to delegate. And from there, I started hiring people left and right and learning to trust them to do their own jobs. Does that make sense?
Yes. So how many employees do you have now?
I think, that's interesting because I feel like we're up to 30, 35, but that includes virtual assistants who are technically not employees.
Okay.
So we're about 35 people now.
What kind of car do you drive?
Man, this is an all-female podcast. I'm sorry. I'll be labeled as sexist now, but that's an interesting question. So I feel like I drive a BMW, and I sold my Vipers, and I have a Corvette now, and I'm looking at an Aston Martin.
Okay.
And that's the car I'm getting next.
And what shoes are you wearing today?
I'm wearing the label. Oh my God, this is horrible. I'm wearing Ferragamos that are stained. And they were nice yesterday until my wife put them. She gave me my shoes this morning, and she dressed me this morning. And I went out and I walked in grass already, and I ruined them.
Well, she did a good job. And I asked you this question just so our listeners can get an idea of the level of success that you have achieved. So this is someone who knows what he's talking about. He's been around the block, and he is incredibly successful.
And sharp as a tack, mind you.
And witty.
Yes. Now, I want to go back to the delegation aspect that you brought off, because I think that is an area where a lot of new business owners struggle with, is kind of giving up some of that control and trusting other people to do just as good of a job or to your expectation of getting the job done. So what advice would you give to a business owner who is just at that beginning stage where they were starting to delegate?
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. Either you scale or you can't scale. And so if you are really, really proud of your work product, maybe there's different businesses are different, products are different, but in the service business, you're either going to be great at what you do, and you're going to acknowledge that in the beginning, you're going to hire people that may or may not be at your level. You're going to try to get them at your level, but you're not going to think that they're at your level, because as soon as they make a mistake, you're going to want to draw them back in. But the most simple advice, I think, is it's either you delegate or you don't grow. Like, you can't grow without delegating. So there's a process that has to come along with that, and it's a mindset process that comes along with it, either with coaching or self-teaching yourself. So, I mean, the easiest example would be, for an experience I had, is I was a lawyer that I tried over 100 cases at the state attorney's office. I never lost a case. Wow. Really, it wasn't. It was the worst nightmare, because I started choosing the cases that I could win and started focusing on what I could win and not lose. And so my wife, for example, I've hired a lot of other lawyers after her, but a lot of them came from the public defender's office, and some of them make better lawyers and prosecutors, but they also can lose. I mean, sometimes the facts are against you. And I realized I lost my last trial before I opened my own firm, and I remember this clearly. And this is all about delegation, because I lost it to a lawyer. I know this is horrible to say, but she was blind in one eye. She wasn't a very good lawyer, and I thought I would just easily win the case, and I lost. And so I realized after that story, when I lost, started humbling me. And that was really, really important, because as I hired people, especially lawyers, some in the beginning may not have had the natural skills in front of a jury as I had. They may have been better at other things. Some of them really may not want to work 60, 80 hours a week like I did. They were working for me, living my dream. And some of them made outright mistakes, an error in emotion. Back then, I was such a perfectionist. Now everyone laughs at me like, "You're so sloppy, Bill." From my eyebrows, actually. I'm looking at your perfect eyebrows. My eyebrows aren't even shaved, but that goes back to when I started. They would make mistakes, and I would get angry. I would get mad. It's my reputation on the line, not your reputation. I'd say horrible things to them. And I realized, you're just never going to be able to grow. And you just stay, it's almost like I have a friend who's a great trial lawyer, but I always make fun of him, like, your pants, you feel like he's a good-looking guy, he dresses well, I'm going to learn how to dress from him, and he's an amazing lawyer, but he's like this. Still, now he's kind of more relaxed, But after 25 years of doing this work and slowly being able to relax, you get your, you know what, in a wad, right? And you can't grow that way, and you can't trust people. So it's really all about mindset.
That's very good advice for people, that you sometimes have to relax and understand that there may be some errors that are made because you're not doing everything yourself anymore, but there's no other option if you want to grow.
Yeah, I actually think every time that comes up, I would used to say to myself, do you want to grow? So for all your business owners out there, individuals, it doesn't matter, and it's hard, male or female, when you're starting to run this stuff and you're starting to put this stuff on your shoulder and you're saying to yourself, I want to grow, I want to make more money, I want to hire people. Okay, great. As soon as that first mistake is made, say to yourself when you're about to dial it back in and I'm the only one that can do it. No one else can do it. That's, then ask yourself the next question before you continue down the path of either reacting with your people is, do you want to grow? Mm-hmm. Right? Brooke, do you want to grow?
Yes.
Right. So when someone makes a mistake, you get mad, but before you react, it's Brooke, you don't want to go. That doesn't mean you don't let them go. Doesn't mean they don't live up to your standards, but you cannot scale a business at all if you just are afraid to delegate. So, and you've got to be willing to know that mistakes are going to happen, and sometimes some really bad mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, when we were younger, and it can happen now, we're a big firm now, but imagine not following a notice of appearance, and so that is a warrant out for your client's arrest. Stuff can happen. So it was just funny the other day, because I shouldn't say this on air, but we are friends with a lot of judges. Thank you. And we did everything right, but we had a cover lawyer, who I won't mention his name, was supposed to cover for us, and he did, but maybe he got misinformation and he missed the court date.
Oh, no.
In the past, we would be like freaking out, everything. Yeah. Now, after 25 years of business, I didn't even get to hear about it. My managing attorney had someone call the judge, so we'll be there at 2:00, no big deal, no warrants issued, nothing. Even in our business, and we make very few mistakes about stuff like that. We have systems in place. This was outside of our control because another attorney took the coverage, but I even remember those, like you just got to take a deep breath, and that's the worst thing that can happen in our business, is not covering a court date.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just goes to show you the impact that developing the right types of relationships can have on your business.
Yeah,
yes.
True. That's 100% right.
And having a good reputation in the community, the business community or the legal community as well, goes a long way.
Or just the community in general. So fun fact, you don't know this, but for a couple weeks now, I've been telling all of my friends and people that I know that you're going to be on the show this week. I would say about 98% of those people either considered themselves very good friends with you, knew you, or had worked with you in some sort of capacity. So it just goes to show you the amount of influence that you've had in our community. And I know a lot of people, but
that's awesome.
You know most all the people that I know because they all knew. Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool.
So the legal field is obviously very competitive, and you're also located in Orlando, Florida, which probably has more lawyers per square mile than just about anywhere in the country. So we can't drive 5 miles without hitting 10 law firm billboards. Mm-hmm. So you obviously had to differentiate yourself to get noticed in such a competitive field. So how did you go about doing that?
Well, I feel like it's still an evolution of a process, because I can talk to you about hiring a business development person and learning how to ask. Because imagine having all that influence and then having pride enough not to ask for business. So I'd actually be larger now if I had put down my pride a long time ago. But to answer your question about overcoming it, I think it's, everyone has their own client journey. We're still trying to experiment how to make our clients happier and evolve the process, but everyone says that. I think what makes each person different is how quick you can get to your central zone of who you are. So if you really can connect with who you are as a person and you understand and you feel comfortable with yourself, I think that speaks for itself. And I'll give you an example. Like today, there's a guy named Joel Leopard who is a competitor. Now, he texted me and he says, "I'm not your competitor. All boats rise." And I'm like, I won't say what I said because we're on this air thing, but I usually like to curse a lot in a nice way because I like it. But like I said, MF, whatever, of course we're competitors, but I put a post about him, and he competes with me day to day for personal injury and DUI cases, and I put his story up and said, great lawyer, outstanding guy. Like, he's in my block. He's the person I'm competing with. And I got texts from like 10 other guys who I'm closer with, who I take guy trips with. You don't go on guy trips. Why don't you promote my business like that? I go, well, maybe I will, or maybe I won't. But like, the thing is like, I feel like I don't believe all boats rise. I do believe competitors push one another to be better. And I think the standout thing about me that would make my firm different, other than culture, I think is I'm closest to the line about myself and being comfortable with who I am, including everything that's bad about me. So it's just kind of like, and I think that shows itself when I'm out in public. Like when you came in, right? You came into my Rotary Club doing your presentation on personal injury. And like, I think when I was 28, 29, not 58, I'd look at you and be like, what the F is she doing in my, and who had her come in? And then, okay, now I'm going to really like screw her. I'm going to ask some really tough questions just to try to challenge you. And the exact opposite, right? I saw you doing your thing. I appreciate you doing thing. I said, damn, like I don't even do that in my own club. And a lot of those were my clients. And I need to start coming to meetings first. I need to get a presentation second. And what is she doing here? This is really funny. So then I gave you a softball question. And then I felt bad for you because my Republican friends in the room, who are all hardcore, which you're from Oviedo, so you know, were like trying to like mess with you. But they weren't trying to mess with you because of me. They were just, that's who they were. Yeah. And I feel like that's the difference. So there's a factor, like I think that when you're younger, I feel like I somehow was a cool kid when I was younger. Then I lost it for a while and a long time. And then I got it back. And it's that factor that separates. It's like if you're not a hater, you don't have an agenda, and when you walk into a room, people like you and they all know you and you feel your vibe and you're an energy person, that's the separator. I wish it was marketing. It's not. Because I got the lawman and I never had the guts. I'm going to kind of clean this up because I want to say, something else, but like it's a female podcast. But it is true. I mean, we are different than women. So the guts to do the lawman, put a cowboy hat, make fun of myself, and I got all that. 228-3838 was my original number for 38 special, and I just didn't play with any of that stuff. And honestly, I think I don't regret it, but I think I didn't have the confidence to do it then. I think looking back, I wouldn't do it now because it's just not me anymore. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I became comfortable with who I was, not a hater, loving people, that's the separator.
Do you love the Miss Biz podcast?
Because we love you.
Here's 3 things you can do to show your support.
1, write us a review. Apple or Spotify are the best platforms for reviews.
2, join us for our free Friday Zoom calls at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. To RSVP, go to MissBiz.com homepage. Scroll down to Miss Biz Connects and click the link.
3, follow us on social media. Our handle is @MissBizPodcast.
As always, thank you for your support.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And because you brought it up, that's how we met, was at a Rotary Club meeting where I was a guest speaker, having no idea that was your club or that you were there. And he was like sitting kind of in the back. So I couldn't see him, and we had never met before. But he started raising his hand and asking questions, and I immediately knew this guy knows what he's talking about. And only afterwards did I find out who he was. But actually, to your credit, you came up to me afterwards, and we started talking, and then we've become friends now. Mm-hmm. And that speaks to your character, because we are technically competitors too in the personal injury space. But yet, I know you have been really helpful in making introductions for me and just helping me along the way, because you've had your business longer than me.
I think the secret is that if you really help people without an agenda, it's just natural for them to give back. And you don't need to give with an expectation of anything. You just keep giving. There are people that don't give back, and that's okay too. You just kind of move that. I think there's almost a transition. You used to give to get, and then you give. When you don't get, you move on, and then you don't even forget. You just forget about who's giving. You just keep giving, and it really works out better in the universe that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. It always comes back 3 times.
Yep. I got to count that 3 times. So
Give or take.
Yeah.
Give or take. So I do have a question for you because you brought up the lawman. Can you tell us what that nickname means or the story behind it?
It's really simple. It just started with the way when you started the show and then you restarted the show because you
Telling our secrets.
you mispronounced my name. Well, you asked. You asked. You know, so when the word Umansky becomes Uman, whatever, and I remember like in college and in law school, some people had a nickname for me, You the Man. And I was like, I hate my name. I really couldn't identify with Umansky. I was embarrassed by the name. I thought it was a weak name, which is really funny how the mind messes with you. I have my son named Zach and Jake. They both played football. Both were 1-syllable names. Because I was worried, not my wife. My wife was more secure about herself back then. But I would say to you, like, just that combination, I hated my name, and somewhere along the lines I fell in love with my name. But before then, the creation of the nickname was really related to the fact that I hated my last name. You can't say Umansky, you can say Umansky, which is probably the real way you pronounce it, or Umansky. So I was just like, I'll just take over the moniker Lawman. That was it. It was really simple, and everyone remembered the Lawman. And then for about 10 years, I was embarrassed about the nickname Lawman. And now, in the last 15 years, I'm like, everyone knows the Lawman. I'm like, okay, that's good. So it worked. So.
See, I love that nickname. To me, it's so powerful, and people recognize you based upon that.
Like, it's memorable.
Yes. 100%.
But you have an all-female podcast. You know what's interesting is, that's the other thing that I started learning is to reclaim being a man. Because I will tell you, like, there came a time where they have, like, female, this, Central Florida Trial Lawyers, not Central Florida Trial, Central Florida Women Lawyers Association. There's all these women groups. And, it's not cool for men to have a group, or it's just known like, oh, they have groups. Like, I'm not sure. They don't have men. They may have Christian male lawyers, maybe, but like I don't know if they have like the male lawyer group or whatever. You just don't. I don't know if we need it, don't need it. But I was embarrassed, and also the lawman became something like it's almost a sexist thing, like to claim being a male or being in that. And there are people who react to that in a way in the past. And I'd say during the time, maybe about 6-7 years ago, there was like a lot of upheaval about gender identity and everything. And now like reached full circle where I may start a podcast, a mastermind, and I'm playing around with the idea that's going to be men's only. So it's going to be the Lawman's men only mastermind, maybe. Mom for short, which is kind of interesting. And I should just claim it and be like, yeah, it's all men. And I don't know, like, that's really the next step of being fully authentic is like, okay, I love women. I come to women groups. All the women, I have a lot of women leaders in my organization. My wife's she's an attorney and a very powerful personality, strong personality. But I'm like, I may just do a mastermind just for men.
I think you should. I don't think that there are enough men's groups out there. I mean, you'll have men's small groups at church. I'm sure that they have a few here and there, but you're absolutely right. There are so many different options for women, but not enough for men. So I think you should.
I'm going to take that into advisement.
Yeah. I agree with you because, too, there's undeniably value in woman-to-woman relationships.
Yes.
And I imagine in man-to-man relationships as well. Mm-hmm. There's just things that you can talk about that everyone can relate to and help each other in a way that they wouldn't be comfortable to do in a mixed environment. So I would encourage you to do that. And I think that it's great that you are stepping out and not, bowing down to whatever society says is whatever. So
because you know what the concern was, especially several years ago, but even now, like you're excluding women. So therefore there's something wrong with you. You're a misogynist. I'm like, no, I just want to create a group of men who are like-minded like me and help them with their business. And we'll do different trips than we would do if it was a group trip, which is going to happen that way. It's going to be different fun, different communication, and different things that men talk about, right?
There's definitely nothing wrong with that at all. So I agree with Rachel. I think that's a great idea.
Well, thanks for the encouragement.
We support you.
I don't need encouragement of men. I do need encouragement from feminine energy, so that's cool.
100%.
I'm doing it.
So you have had a long legal career, and has that journey always been sunshine and roses?
No, I mean, obviously, there's been a lot. I think, it's interesting. I wrote a talk several times about resilience, and as you know, a business owner, you can lose key employees. And I love when business owners will talk about how great everything's going on, and they have like one or two key employees, and it's really the entrepreneur is out there being optimistic and sharing the love and everything, but they're the two key employees or three key employees or five key employees or eight key employees, no matter how big your business is. And then they lose a key employee or a second key employee. And then all hell hits, like it's just all kinds of things. So I feel like, there's been different processes. I think the toughest time that we went through was COVID. I feel like from COVID changed my dynamic of having integrity and also knowing what I would do. I've saved two people's lives before, and I always remember like I'm a mess until it came down to do something and then taking action. During COVID, we had the choice of letting our people go or reducing the attorneys' salaries all down to about like $40,000, $50,000. And I had to reduce my own. And I also had to tell them at the same time, like, I'm not going to take draws. And you can see my books, I won't take a draw out. And I remember when we kept everyone on, we had to grade every employee. And you talk about like the worst kind of your business is sitting there and grading people, because you had to like, look, you're already in a tough situation. Sometimes team members have to go anyway. They may be great people, but they don't live up to the standards that you need in your business. And I'm constantly reminded of that, and I'm even going to be more focused on that. But I remember having to grade these people, and there was a grade about what they did in business, but it was also what kind of people they were. And so there was one lawyer who used to hand out crosses, which, like, I think I wasn't Christian then. I think I was Jewish. Not in mind, but like he was trying to give people hope when people were really scared. And then we had some other people that were scared of what was going to happen, and they just marshaled through it. And then we had other people that were scared. I always remember, and I don't think any of them are with me anymore. They were not let go during that time during COVID, but I knew during a long period of time, like, they were not going to be the people I'd want on a sinking boat or anything like that. And I remember they were scared, and then they closed in. And then they, like, they're only thinking about their family, their people. I don't remember even who they were, because I don't like to be negative, but I remember that was the worst time of our business and the best time, because after I realized that I did that, it's only by doing the behavior that you are not sure you'll do until the time comes you do it, right? Does that make sense? We all can say we're going to do something. And I realized, like, we were struggling financially also, my wife and I, and we were like, no, this is what we need to do to keep our paralegals on, our legal assistants on, our managers on. We have to take the cut. And I remember after that was the best part. I think the only other really, really bad time of business is like, yeah, you lose key employees, salespeople, you get stressed. But I also think too, like, over time, like, we have a leadership meeting like maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty, I have two people with me here that are on my leadership team, so I don't want to go into certain details, but it was pretty emotional. We were grading each other, and it was pretty tough. And you get to a point where it's not whether it's good or bad. You're just kind of like, I love everyone as people. I want to work with people I care about. But if you need to go, or, then go. Like, and you just make it happen. We lost 3 paralegals last quarter. And it's never happened to us. And I think us being resilient, we're able to just move on and just quickly rebound. So
Sure.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I think it just, as you're talking, it's calling to mind all these experiences that I've been through that I can relate to, because there are things that happen outside of your control. I don't think when I started my business, I realized that the Florida legislature could just change the laws and tank my business in one foul swoop. Like, I just always had the perspective that if I just worked hard, if I just kept being good, doing a good job for people, if I just kept giving in the ways that you're saying, if I just kept doing those things, that I would just keep growing. But as you pointed out, when COVID hit, that was outside of your control. There was nothing you could do. Your business would otherwise be thriving, but you had to adjust. And I love the lessons that you learned through that have now made you stronger and your team stronger.